trying to do. As much as I'm wired and out of my mind, I am, as I'm doing, I promise you, I'm trying. I'm not always succeeding to enjoy it. I'm really trying to like soak it in. You don't get these very often, and the buildup is fun. It's part of the journey, and enjoy it. Don't just try and fast forward to 6:30 on Sunday night. I am truly trying to do that. So we'll see. It's a work in progress this week.
You're trying to subscribe to the D-Gun approach to a big game.
Listen, I learn from the best. You're my Yoda. You know what I mean? I'm trying. I'm telling you, man. That's all. Man. That's all you can do. All right. So, Barrett, let's get to what you think a good way to go about this thing from an offensive perspective, knowing what the Eagles' strengths are versus, some of the weaknesses and or strengths that the Chiefs have, something maybe you want to avoid from them defensively. Because it's, you're dealing with a guy, Steve Spagnuolo, who's been here before. We know what on the big stage, he's come up with some great game plans during his time as the Giants coordinator, defensive coordinator. And, we saw what he was here in Philadelphia as a defensive coordinator. So where do they go about things here for the Eagles offense?
I truly think, and I hate to say it, but I truly think they're going to try to take advantage of them in the pass.
Okay. Yeah.
2 rookies out there on the corners. They play a lot of zero coverage, especially in the red zone. And I believe Jalen Hurts can take advantage of that. And I truly believe they think they can take advantage of that. You don't have guys that are really good at rushing the passer besides Jones. He's a man. Chris Jones is a man.
Yep.
Frank Clark, he's okay. Kaloftis, he's okay. But I don't think they'll put a lot of pressure on him. But I do think they'll be able to hold up and they'll be able to throw the ball consistently because I don't think that they can handle our receivers on the outside. I think that's a major, major, major disadvantage for Andy. I think he understands that, and he's going to try to heat him up because of it. They can run the ball also on him.
Right.
And you have to make sure you account for where Chris Jones is. Mm-hmm. So when you're running on a guy like him, you run zone plays. Get him going one direction and have those backs slash and cut and go downhill. But you won't have that big yardage like you would think. It's not like they're not bad to run, but you're going to get consistent running. And when I say consistent, 3 yards here, 4 yards here, 5 yards here. And it's looked like the offense is not going, but it's still moving. You know what I'm saying? Then you pop a pass in there. Take advantage of those guys on the outside. I would love to have a boring offensive game against this Kansas City Chiefs team. Boring meaning the ball's in our hands and we're driving the ball consistently, throwing out routes, throwing slant routes, maybe double move them here and there. But you can take advantage of the guys on the outside, not necessarily with big plays, but consistent plays just to keep the ball moving, keep that other quarterback off the field. And that's how you win this game.
Yeah, and the Chiefs were a good run team in the regular season. I mean, they were 8th, I believe. They gave about 106 on 107 on the ground. They were good, but
that was when Clyde Hilaire played. When they had that dual combination of Clyde Hilaire.
No, defensively.
Defensively. Oh, they gave up 107.2.
Yeah, I mean, but the Niners had given up 77 per game on the ground, and the Eagles went for 140 something. They doubled it. They flipped it. So, and Barrett, to your point, the Eagles had the ball for almost an entire quarter more last game against the 49ers.
We got to be the same way. And that was a boring looking game.
Yeah.
But boring means results for the Eagles. Keep that offense off the field. You got to keep him off the field. And the way you do that is run consistently. And like I said, you're not going to be getting those long runs, not really necessarily. Now, towards the end of the game, when you're beating them up, you will. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have a consistent, productive offense. A 4-yard run is a great run. Then you might have a 3-yard run. Now it's 3rd and 7. That's 3rd and makeable. That's where you want to be at this offense. You got to just nickel and dime this offense. Nickel and dime. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like when I used to play dominoes, you say if you nick them to death, and all of a sudden, bang.
We knocked the mic out. That was so And it's still out. Oh, okay, is it back? It's back. All right.
It's back now, yeah.
All right.
But that's what you got to keep nicking them, and then bam, you'll hit the big play on them. And then you just keep them off the you want to look up, and if they get the Eagles get the ball first, you want to look up. There's only 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
I like it. What do you think, Gunner?
The good thing is when you look at AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, they have such a good array of moves in their pass routes. Jalen has to be, that timing mechanism has to be perfect. When he gets them on that first, when he get those young DBs on that first bite, boom, release the ball. Because those young kids do have good recovery time. You can't be standing back there. Once he hits them on the move, the ball's got to be there. You know, whether it's a short passing game, intermediate game, whatever you're going to do. Because the back end of their defense, while susceptible, they have speed on the back end of Kansas City's defense. And those guys have great recovery time. So if you beat a guy by 3 or 4 yards and the ball hasn't been released, you're giving that DB chance to recover and close the gap. And who knows what can happen. I mean, we have a receiver on this end is going to win the majority of his 50-50. No, correction. A receiver on both sides that are going to win the majority of their 50-50 balls. But if you really want to sting them, hit them on that first move, on that whether it's a hesitation move to the outside, a fly route, or out and up, whatever the case may be. Boom! Soon as he gets that dude on his hip, let the ball fly. The timing is everything in terms of the passing game against a susceptible pass defense, but yet a very active and a very, very fast pass defense as well.
I guess it just keeps coming back to me, and there's a lot of different. I think you guys have done a really good job breaking it down, but there's going to come a time where you're going to have to probably hit a deep ball or two. And that's where Jalen's got to be on the money. It can't, there can't be a situation where AJ's breaking open and you overthrow him or whatever the case may be. That's
gotta take advantage of it. You're right.
You gotta take advantage because it's going to happen very often, man. It's going to be here and there. You got to pick and choose your spots. If you dial up the right play and get an advantage and beat, one of the Chiefs secondary, look, there's too much talent there. I also feel like AJ Brown is ready to explode.
Yeah,
like he's been okay in these games and he's made a couple plays here and there, but you just know, man, that dude is chomping at the bit to make a play.
Well, Rob, you couldn't have said it better. He is ready to. This is the biggest stage for him.
Yep.
So his expectations are to catch everything thrown to him. If it takes him, running out of his shoes, he's gonna make sure every ball thrown to him is complete.
Yeah,
because this is where he wants to set himself apart from all the other receivers. AJ Brown wants to be one of the greatest receivers in the league, and this game right here will cement him as one of the greatest receivers in the league.
And yet, I don't know if he will be the offensive star of this show for this team, because of so many different ways they could go. It could be Devontae. It could be Miles. It could be Goddard. Yep. If they make that concerted effort, as much as I agree with Barrett on what AJ wants and what this means to him on this platform in his first year as a Philadelphia Eagle, out from under what was going on in Tennessee, it's going to be dictated on how they cover him, whether they cover him, single coverage, whether they try to double down on him, whether they keep an extra DB in the game so they can slide coverage over to him and take their chances one-on-one with Goddard and Devontae on the other side. This has the makings of the perfect storm for an A.J. Brown, but yet it won't be up to A.J. Brown in a lot of ways based on what we think, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs decides to do in terms of how they're going to try to umbrella these Eagles' weapons.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
They'll try to. They can't. Right. They can't double because they got to stop the run.
Maybe, yeah.
They want to stop the run. That's why when you say zero coverage, everyone is when they cover everybody man to man.
No help over the top.
No help over the top.
Right.
And everybody else is coming.
Yep.
They're bringing everybody else. But you can't necessarily do that to Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Because he's such a good runner that if he finds just this much of a crack to get through, all those guys that are covering those outside receivers are worried about those outside receivers and Dallas Goedert. So they don't have time to turn around and look to see if he's throwing the ball or if he's running. So if he gets past that, he has the speed and athleticism to take it. He can take it to score. He can take it. It'll be a big run. And that's how I know Spagnuolo right now is shaking in his boots. Spags right now is like, what the hell am I going to do to stop this guy?
Mm-hmm.
If we blitz him too much, he's going to take advantage of it because that means I'm man-to-man on the outside and this guy can run. But if I sit back and play zone, they're going to run the ball on us and we're not going to be able to stop it. Pick your poison. What do you do? And the Eagles have to be thinking the same way. We've got to establish run. If we establish a run, we're going to get one-on-one on the outside with rookie corners. And there's neither one of those guys can cover A.J. Brown, and neither one of those guys can cover Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely can't. They can't cover Dallas Goedert. Somebody's going to be open.
Yeah, you got to pick your poison when it's Brown and it's Smith and it's Goddard and it's a rushing attack that you have to respect, and it's Hurts who can get out there and get loose in the secondary. There's just a lot of problems that are presented with this offense. And look, Spags is a great coordinator, man, but it's going to come down to what you're focusing on here and what you're willing to give up and what you're willing to try to take away.
Coach is a good point also. So Chiefs linebackers are slow. 32 Bolton. Bolton's not slow, but Bolton's a run stopper.
Right. He's a tackling machine too.
He's a tackling machine. That's what he is. And I don't see Willie Gay. I don't know if Willie Gay is playing or not. Mm-hmm. He can do all right, but he can't cover Dallas Goedert. Neither one of those two can cover Dallas Goedert. Mm-hmm. Those are thumpers in the middle of that defense.
I guarantee you, Spags has been on the phone over the past week talking to all his friends who are defensive coordinators,
no question,
defensive coaches in the league, trying to get every little bit of information he can. Okay, what do I need to know about trying to defend this offense? What do I guarantee he probably has an encyclopedia already, a week's worth of encyclopedia information on this offense, trying to decide with my personnel, what can I do and what do I have to stay away from trying to defend this offense.
Yeah, the stream is on hit too, because that's also another weapon that Spags is like, damn, where'd this kid come from? Gainwell?
Yeah, they're X factors. Those guys are X factors. Boston Scott and Gainwell, especially Gainwell's really come on lately.
Right. So like, oh my God. So what if they come out in 12 personnel? 21 personnel. Mm-hmm. 21 personnel, 2 running backs, 1 tight end.
Yep.
Do you cover? Which one do you cover? You got Gainwell on one side, and then you've got Miles Sanders on the other side. Who do you cover with him? A linebacker, safety? What do you do to stop this? Because if you have this personnel package, that means you're supposed to bring in another linebacker and play your base front. But both guys are so good at catching the ball, that'll be a decided advantage to put a linebacker on.
I'd probably say Gainwell, believe it or not, just in terms of catching the ball out of the backfield, he's a little bit better than Miles. But not to say Miles can't do that and kill you.
Then you pick wrong, because now you got to take somebody out the box. When Gainwell goes out the box, you got to take one person out the box with him, and that leaves you with Sanders with a light box. A light box to me is usually 6 in the box.
Yep.
But I'm gonna say a light box for the Eagles is a 7-man box, because you got Kelsey who can get up on that second level.
Yeah.
So I mean, this. Man, I go through all these mental dynamics in my head on what do you do to do this? How can you counter this? What do they do? I mean, I have a pretty good idea on how they're going to stop Kansas City's offense. And I say that begrudgingly, because you can only contain them. You can't contain them. You can only think that you can slow them down.
Yeah, you can't have Mahomes kill you. You can't have Kelsey kill you. They're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs. And look, they're even though they don't have Tyreek Hill and they're not going to have Mecole Hardman either, they still have some good receivers. I don't think they're great receivers, but they're good. And a guy as talented as Mahomes makes them even better than they are, right? And we saw that last week, or in the AFC Championship game. Dude stepped up. Valdez Scantling really stepped up for them and had a big game.
Yep.
He makes people better.
Just good enough to get that man over 5,200 yards passing and 41 touchdowns.
He will throw picks, though. He will.
He will serve them up. But you look at the turnover ratio for them in the 2 playoff games. Kansas City generated 4 turnovers and only turned the ball over once. So they've been doing a better job of protecting the football.
Yeah, they have.
Whatever they're doing, they've done a better job at it. But this is a Kansas City team that's not going to out-muscle you. They're going to try to out-finesse you. They cannot out-muscle the Eagles in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But their finesse game is second to none. Is it good enough to beat the Eagles? as we sit here today, I don't think it is. But again, and I'll be saying this throughout the week, when it comes to what Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy try to have up their sleeves on Sunday, there's going to be several plays where we're sitting there going, wow, I didn't see this coming. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
It's what they do. It's what they do.
They're incredibly creative, and they're also daring in the things that they will do.
Oh my goodness.
Are the Chiefs and Andy Reid. That's for sure. That you're going to see some stuff that you didn't expect. But here's the thing, even though the Chiefs have certainly the advantage in terms of experience, right? They've been to the, what is it, 2 out of the last 3, won 1, lost 1. You still have enough carryover with the Eagles. You have a mature enough quarterback where I think he's going to be fine. And all season long, Nick Sirianni's had his team ready. So I don't think that that's going to be, a huge factor in this thing. Like Andy, certainly, we know the record 28-4 coming off a bye for sure. But the biggest issue is for him in game. And is he able to pivot off of something that he wanted to do, initially? That's
not
the big
only
question.
that, but the Eagles have so many players on this team that are playing for more than just a ring. They're playing for future contracts.
Yeah.
And they're going to be seen on the national stage by 31 other GMs, coaches, scouting departments. I'm telling you, so this is a big money game for the, it's not beyond just the purse for the winners get for a Super Bowl, but in terms of extended contracts beyond a 1-year deal for Kazir White and all these guys, and so you talk about motivation on top of motivation. What more do you need? I mean, you look at the guys they brought in outside of Sue and Joseph. Who knows? There might be another team, including the Eagles, that could talk Sue into playing 1 more year. The dude was retired before the Eagles called him. Somebody might talk him into playing 1 more. Somebody might say, you know what? Maybe we should have looked a little bit closer at Linville Joseph. We thought he was dead and buried. Maybe, in our system, he can also thrive. I mean, these guys and their representatives are thinking about all this stuff. And I guarantee they've talked to their clients all season long, especially in December and throughout the playoffs, about what this could mean for you financially and setting up your family for life going down the road.
You know what I think the way that especially Sue approaches next year is, don't talk to me until after training camp. Maybe at that point, in his career, where all right, I'm going to hop on here either in season or right before the regular season starts, and we'll go from there. I'll have myself in shape, but I'm not going through that anymore. My days of doing that are done. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if Linville Joseph's at that same place. I don't know. He might be, but I think it's definitely the way Sue goes. Look, he could be back as an Eagle. It depends. He's a guy I would let just sort of feel things out on the market and then, take it from there. Bring him back.
Especially if Hargrave and Cox are gone.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, if I'm Sue, I'm thinking, oh yeah, how much you want to pay me to stay 1 more?
Yeah.
How much you want to pay? I'll sign another 1-year deal. I'm in the twilight of my career. I made my big money down in Tampa, but you gotta pay to play. And how much are you going to give me? You thought you were going to give me a league minimum with incentives to come back? Oh no. Now the money pool is generated more because Fletcher Cox is gone here. Javon Hargrave took this over here. Now you can tell me all you want. Well, our primary guys are the young guys, Milton Williams and Jordan Davis. Yeah, but you still need a guy like me, a savvy vet like me to help these kids get through those rough moments.
Yeah, and
what do you want to pay?
I mean, let's face it. Look, I think Jordan Davis showed you some things this year, but I don't know ultimately. He's an unknown to an extent.
Yeah.
Milton Williams does a really nice job
as a
when given an opportunity,
yeah.
But if you're the every down guy, can you play at that level? I would really hate to lose Hargrave. I would, you talk about 10 sacks from that interior, and I know he feeds off of the fact that they're so good all over the place, but still, that would be a tough one. There's got to be a good market for him, man, because he's still, what is he, 30-ish? He's right around 30.
Yeah, he's at a point in his life and his career that he's ready. He's ready to take it to get even better, but he's ready to get that next contract to secure his life after football. That's what he's looking for right now. And I mean, another guy, that's been with the Eagles organization the entire time is Marcus Epps.
Yep.
Yes.
This is his last year on his deal. He's looking for a big-time deal. He's shown that he's the best safety we have, the most consistent guy we've had. He hasn't been hurt. He's played at a high level. I mean, why not him? Why not, go out there and test the market, see if he can make some money? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Those are the things that, Howard's got his work cut out for him. This year, it was a slam dunk, bro. He turned around. He made things happen in every sense of having a score of like 95% of what he did this all season and this season. 95% of those things that he did was stupendous. I mean, almost unbelievable on how he was able to put this team together and assemble this roster. I mean, how do you go out and get Sue and Joseph? How do you do that? How do you go out and get Bradbury?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How do you get Bradbury? How do you get the trade and get A.J. Brown? How do you get Hassan Reddick? And you got him way undervalued.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a tremendous job of bringing in guys like Kasir White. Man, he's done a fantastic job, man. And next year, he's really going to have his work cut out for him. But the great thing about it is all those guys are free agents, but they're not lingering contracts.
Right.
He can work it. He can work it. He can work it.
Yeah, I think too, when it comes to Howie, I know it looks bleak in terms of a lot of guys leaving, but he is the best in the business of figuring these things out. Like, I guarantee you, like we're saying to ourselves, man, how did he end up re-signing X, Y, and Z? How are they doing this? Because he always does figure that part of it. I'm not saying everybody comes back. Obviously, like, something's got to give when you're talking about Bradbury and you're talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and you're talking about Hargrave and you're talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Sue and Joseph. I know something's got to give, but I think he's going to surprise us, everybody collectively, and bring back more people than maybe we're anticipating. And I don't just knowing based off of his track record, the way he does things, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's going to be based on what that quarterback gets first and foremost.
True.
And
everything
then he
works
starts,
off of that.
Absolutely. Yep. Then he starts crunching the numbers.
Yep.
But if anybody can figure it out, it is Howie. He can figure it out. There are going to be new components to the equation. And I guarantee you, he may try to make one significant splash on the first few days of free agency. Then he'll back off and see what veterans are still left. And then that's when they start plugging the roster with the lower tier vets, the guys who are not going to kill you financially. And we may see another wave of guys coming in here on one-year deals again, because that's all the money they have left. But even with that said, the nucleus that remains is still good enough to compete for a championship next season as well.
I don't know. Absolutely. And you'll have your quarterback, you'll have your receiving core. For the major part of your offensive line. You'll have enough that you can have a core group of guys to come in and really play. I mean, notwithstanding, the fact that a lot of your core players that you had on rookie deals will be also out there test the market. Also, T.J. Edwards, like I said, Marcus Epps is going to test the market. Guys like that. I mean, they're gonna want to go out and see if they can get some money. They're more likely they'll end up here, but you just got to. That's what comes with being a great team. When you're in the Super Bowl, there are going to be so many teams come like vultures and come picking from your roster. I want a part of this winning attitude. I want a part of this. I want a part of that. They're going to come and pick it like vultures. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going to leave nothing but bone left. But at least he has enough bone there to to make something happen with it.
To build that skeleton.
Well, right. But you had the 10th pick. You have your pick. A lot of the influx of the guys that you drafted last year didn't have to contribute a lot. They're going to have to contribute now, for sure.
Yep.
So this is where we're going to find out if you were right, if you hit on these guys. You could have Kelsey retire, and all of a sudden Juergens is forced in there.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You could have Kelsey retire. You could have Andre Dillard go free agency. You could still have Miles Sanders leave, and you still have enough nucleus, because if Miles Sanders leaves, they're going to find either a veteran back at a low tier price, or they're going to find another one in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round and plug him in. Gainwell will be your lead back. Boston Scott, I don't know. As much as they like him here, Boston Scott's got to be thinking, hey, my time's coming too as a role player somewhere else that I can make more money. Boston Scott has to come to the realization he's never going to make big money in the NFL, but he can make enough money to take care of him in life after football. And I don't think, as much as they like him here, I don't think the Eagles will ever view him as a financial priority in his organization, which means he has to come to the decision, as much as I love Philadelphia, I know my earning power is on borrowed time. and I have to maximize that now. So, you know, we and even with that said, if those pieces left, it's still a good enough nucleus to compete next year.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. And look, you have to count on the quarterback getting better, players that you give an opportunity getting better. I think A.J. Brown, another year in the system, Devontae Smith in his third year. I mean, they're really, other than, well, same Alu too. But if Kelsey comes back, it's not really the offensive side that you get hit hard at. No. I know they have to make a decision on Miles Sanders. I get that. It's the other side of the ball.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of guys on that side of the ball who are impactful players. Fletcher Cox, Hargrave, Kaiser White, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Brad Barrett. That's the side where you really take the hit. And that's where you
Brandon Graham.
Right on. Yeah. There's so many. If you forget about them when you start reeling them off. On the
so when I look at the starters, I see 1, 2.
What, on defense?
3. There's only 3 starters that are under contract right now that are starters.
Damn.
That are on the defense.
That's a lot.
3 out of 11.
Yes. Brandon Graham, free agent. Cox, free agent. Hargraves, free agent. Oh, 4. I'm sorry, 4. T.J. Edwards, a free agent. Kaiser White, a free agent. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, free agent. Marcus Epps, a free agent. James Bradbury, free agent. The only guys you have that are on the contracts are Avonte Maddox, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, and Slay.
Yeah. Great point.
That's it. 4 guys.
Great point there. Yeah, they definitely have their work. Look, all the more reason, win this one. Win this one, you figure everything out. Okay? If you take a step back next year, so be it. But get one in your back pocket. And you can figure everything else out. That's for sure. And that's the aggressive offseason approach that they've taken so far. All right, we're going to come back. We will get into a little Sixers who played last night. A couple other little odds and ends. Trade deadline. Kyrie Irving dealt to the Mavericks. We'll get into that. 2 o'clock, our NFL segment. Did you watch the Pro Bowl? Some movement in terms of assistant coaches. Shane Steichen has a second interview with the Colts on Saturday. And surprise teams, we'll look ahead to 2023, surprise and disappointing teams of 2023. We'll get into all of that. Don't go anywhere. He's Barrett. He's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Time to talk about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. And the beauty is they're just a quick phone call away. They serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, we're in that time of year right now where you want to get your trees evaluated. Some heavy winds, some nasty weather, sleet, rain, snow can cause branches and trees to come down. Get ahead of that. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for a sampling of their work or more information. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848. 610-850-2848 or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go for the beer